YouTube. How we doing, family? It's your boy, Yo. And this is another episode of Yo Hoops. We go through every NBA game every day. Today's Monday, March 3rd, and we have a 7-game NBA card. I'm going to walk you through every game, let you know which sides I like, and stick around because I'll let you know my highlighted play of the day. I do this every day for free, so please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your favorite game in the comment section below. Without further ado, let me get into today's recap. Recapping yesterday, we went 2-1 on our highlighted plays. First, we took the Portland Trailblazers plus 11 in Cleveland against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Danny Advia dropped a 30-point triple-double, and the Blazers sent the game to OT, losing by 4 points. They almost won the game outright. Next, we took the Indiana Pacers laying 10.5 against the Chicago Bulls. The game was competitive coming down to it, but the Pacers pulled away late, winning the game 127-112. Our final play was the Knicks and Heat under 220.5. We did drop this one. This was our one loss on the highlighted side. The game ended at a 210 total in regular time, but the Knicks sent it to OT, where the final ended at 228. Overall, it was a great day. Let's keep the momentum rolling into today, and let's go stack another highlighted win. Without further ado, let me get into today's games. In our first matchup, we have the Golden State Warriors in Charlotte taking on the Charlotte Hornets. Warriors are laying 12.5 points, and the total is 226.5. I really like what I've seen from the Warriors since trading for Jimmy Butler. They went on a convincing 5-game win streak since making the trade, but they did drop their last game against the Philadelphia 76ers. That concerns me because the Warriors were sizable favorites losing on the money line, and we know the Sixers have been ass all season. In that Sixers game, Jimmy Butler didn't play, and that shows me he is the missing link for this Warriors team. The Hornets will have LaMelo Ball playing in this one, and they've been proficient as home underdogs all season. Getting points at home, the Hornets are 16-9-1 against the spread, 6th best in the league. I think the Warriors definitely win this game, but it comes down to something like a 10 or 11-point Warriors win. I'm not necessarily in a rush to fade the New Look Warriors, but we're taking the Hornets plus the 12.5 as our first selection of today. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Portland Trailblazers in Philadelphia taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Sixers are laying 3 points, and the total is 229. The Sixers did just get an outright win against Golden State, like I just mentioned, but I still don't trust them. As home favorites, the Sixers are now 1-13 against the spread on the season, worst in the league by far. The Blazers do come into this one on the second leg of a back-to-back, but with the way they've been playing, they'll have no problem steamrolling the Sixers here. We took the Blazers as our highlighted play yesterday, and they cashed, almost beating the Cavs outright on the money line as 11-point underdogs. Portland has made me a ton of money this season, and I'm not getting off of them here. We're taking the Blazers plus the 3 as our highlighted selection of today. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Washington Wizards in Miami taking on the Miami Heat. Heat are laying 8.5 points, and the total is 218. The Wizards have played a lot better in the back half of the season. The trade for Chris Middleton brought some veteran leadership, and they've stacked some outright wins since making the trade. Thing is, I like the trades that Miami made as well. Andrew Wiggins, Alec Burks, Davion Mitchell, they've all been hooping. The Heat do come into this one on the second leg of a back-to-back, and their game yesterday against the Knicks went into overtime. Some of the Heat starters played over 40 minutes last night due to the game going to OT, and I think we definitely see some tired legs here. I'm taking the Wizards plus the 8.5 as our next selection of today. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Atlanta Hawks in Memphis taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. Grizzlies are laying 9 points, and the total is 253. It seems like the books are catching on to the Grizz a bit. We know they go crazy at home in Memphis, but the line makers are starting to extend these spreads. As home favorites, the Grizzlies are now 16-11 against the spread. Problem is, Atlanta has been proficient as road dogs themselves, sitting at 14-10 against the spread in this spot. Trae Young will play here, and Ja Morant is questionable on the Memphis side. I would like to see if Ja plays, but I do lean towards the Grizzlies. This 9-point line is efficient. It's placed right where it needs to be, and I think the Grizzlies sneak off with a 10 or 11-point win, but I'm taking the Grizzlies laying the 9 as our next selection of today. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Houston Rockets in Oklahoma City taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder are laying 9.5 points, and the total is 229. The injury report for the Rockets here is a mile long. So Tari Eason, Steven Adams, Sengun, Dylan Brooks, and Amin Thompson are all questionable for this one. Then Fred Van Fleet is still ruled out. On the Thunder side, Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Joe didn't play last night, but the Thunder are on a back-to-back, so their injury report is tentative here. There are a lot of moving parts, so I do need to see how this injury report develops, but right now I do lean towards OKC. The Thunder have been disappointing in spots recently, I know, but they're still 18, 9, and 2 against the spread as home favorites, cashing at a 66% clip still after blundering some of those games recently. I watch the NBA a lot, and I'll tell you guys, I can't trust players like Jalen Green, Sengun, and Dylan Brooks on a nightly basis. They run hot and cold. Some nights, yeah, they're hot and the Rockets air teams out, but some nights they're shooting a combined 5 for 50. I can't trust them. We're taking the Thunder laying the 9.5 as our next selection of today. Let's move. In our next matchup, we have the Sacramento Kings in Dallas taking on the Dallas Mavericks. Kings are laying 1.5 points as a pick'em here, and the total is 231. I mentioned to you guys about a week ago that I think Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan can make some noise in the West, potentially this season. They're currently on a 3-game win streak, winning all 3 games by double digits. Once this Mavs team is fully healthy, I am high on them as well, but banged up here, I can't look in their direction. Dallas will be without Caleb Martin, PJ Washington, Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford, and Derek Lively here. The Kings will be without Sabonis, but he hasn't played great recently anyways, so I don't think it even has a negative impact on them. We're taking the Kings on the money line. You could get the odds for minus 125, so no reason to lay the 1.5 points as our next selection of today. Let's move. In our last and final matchup of the evening, we have the Detroit Pistons in Utah taking on the Utah Jazz. Pistons are laying 9 points, and the total is 232. You guys know I'm rocking with the Pistons this season. We've backed them and cashed in many spots, but tonight does make me nervous. The Jazz do come into this one on the second leg of a back-to-back, but a lot of their players sat last night due to injury management. Their injury report is still tentative, but I think we see a couple players go here that didn't go yesterday. For example, Walker Kessler should play. I expect him to play. He was out for rest yesterday. I'm not necessarily in a rush to fade this Pistons team, but I do see this as a sneaky spot where half the Jazz team is ruled active right before game time. If Walker Kessler and really one other starter goes for the Jazz, the Pistons are going to have a long night in Salt Lake City. We're taking the Jazz plus the 9 as our last and final selection of the evening. And that's going to conclude today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We did 2-1 on our highlighted yesterday, and we really should have swept the card if that Knicks and Heat game didn't go to overtime. I'm looking to keep the momentum rolling and absolutely slaughter March. I'm looking to run up a bag and keep us in that win column. Thank you so much for your support again. I do this every day for free, so please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It's your boy, Yo! And until the next one, I'm going to catch y'all. Peace.